Right, today we are outside of the rig because we're going to be talking about some hardware stuff. Now, you might have seen similar videos to this before, people talking about their favorite things that help them gain lap time or whatever. I guarantee there's some unique picks on this list that you won't find anywhere else. Now, I am actually fortunate enough to have two rigs. We've got this main rig here, and then we've got the secondary rig, which is just either for guests to use, or if I want to play like a kind of meme game, a silly game like iRacing, I'll use that one. For serious stuff like ACC, which is Assetto Corsa Competitive, for that I'll use this main rig, and that's what we're going to focus on today. In all seriousness, iRacing is fine. Like, I'm not a fan of monthly subscriptions myself, but at least you get all the tracks and all the cars for a monthly cost, whereas Assetto Corsa Competitive, you do have to buy individual tracks and cars. Now, one final thing before we start this list. Sorry, I know this is dragging on a bit at the start here, but one final myth we need to dispel before we start this is the myth that spending more money on better gear won't make you faster. That's just something that people say on the internet to sound humble. In reality, the more money you spend, the more lap time you save. I've made a graph here. This is in USD because it makes it a nice linear curve. It's pretty much a 1-to-1 ratio. For every $100 you spend, you save a 1/10 of lap time. That's regardless of whether you're playing Assetto Corsa Competitive or iRacing or even the more like serious hardcore sims like Forza Motorsport. All of them are going to have similar results to this. Now, like I said, this is USD because it makes it nice and easy. In my native currency, the British pound, it's not quite as intuitive. And then there's other currencies like the Hungarian forint. I mean, that currency is just not good for anything, so you're not going to get any benefit from spending that. But with that out of the way, let's finally jump in and start talking about some of the items that I think actually benefit me a lot. And we're going to start with number one, the triple monitors. Now, you might have heard people say that VR is really good for sim racing. It's really immersive. So why don't I use VR? Well, let me stick a GoPro on my head, sit in the rig, and then I think this will really start to make sense. So this GoPro is not going to be perfect 1-to-1 match to what I can see, so I'm going to use my hands to put them right at the edge of my peripheral vision for where I can see. Okay, so this is where I can see up to when I'm just looking straight ahead. Now imagine in VR, that's all I can see, you know, you can only see as far as the edge of your peripheral vision goes, so I can only see up to about here if I'm wearing a VR headset. Now look, with triple monitors, if I just turn my head, I can see all the way over here. I can see the full width of this monitor. If I turn my head this way, I can see all the way over here. And that's kind of invaluable extra information that you're not going to get in VR, because with triple monitors, you can just turn your head and see more. Like, it's basic science, it's fundamental stuff. But I guess the VR people want to justify the headsets. I mean, if you look how much a VR headset costs compared to triple monitors, it's insane. Like, I'll show you some prices. Like, think how many monitors you could buy for that kind of price. And in fact, on that subject, ideally you'd want a fourth monitor up here, and maybe a fifth monitor down here. That would be the kind of dream. But this is a very low budget entry-level sim racing setup, so I wasn't able to do that. So product number two is going to be an LED or a screen of some sort that can show you the flags when you're driving in game. Basically, when there's a yellow flag in game, the LED or the entire room in some cases will light up yellow. When there's a blue flag, it'll light up blue. You get the idea. Some people use an LED across the top of the screen. I've been using this app from Super GT. Put that up there. The only problem is it always shows green, so I don't slow down for yellows. But I don't know what that's about. Product number three that I cannot live without is a quick release for your steering wheel. So you'll see, you can slide that off there. And it's very handy during pit stops when you swap wheels. So that's why this wheel is sat there all the time ready for me to go. And yeah, when you slide it back on, it just instantly works again. And this is version 1 of the Fanatec quick release system. They do a version 2 now. I haven't tried that, so I can't comment on that. I know people like to kind of slag Fanatec off a lot at the moment, give them a lot of shit for bad delivery times and stuff, but honestly, like, everything I've ordered from them, everything my friends has ordered from them, it's all turned up within 1 week usually. Sometimes if you're unlucky, 2 or 3 weeks. If you're really unlucky, like 4 or 5 months. Right, this next one is going to be two things, both focused on kind of content creation. Even if you're not a content creator, you're going to want to capture some clips of your sweet overtakes and your incredible lap times and things like that. Or maybe you want to stream just for your friends to watch, something like that. Obviously, OBS and shadow play are pretty expensive, so I would recommend just using your phone. I know everyone's already got a phone, so this is kind of a weird tip, but just hold your phone up, record the screen. That seems to be what most people do on the subreddits that I visit, like Sim Racing Stewards, things like that. And like, it's not perfect, but you know, it's understandable when, yeah, like I say, things like shadow play and OBS are so out of reach for most people. The other thing I was going to mention for content creators is make sure you've got a mirror somewhere nearby. I used to have one right here, because then during pit stops or any downtime, you can turn, look in the mirror, to practice a good shocked thumbnail face, and then just you're ready to take the picture straight away, you know. Now the reason I don't have one anymore is because I've got big enough on YouTube to just reuse the same face every other thumbnail. Like, you don't need to take fresh pictures anymore. All right, we're back outside of the rig for the last couple of items. The first one is this anti-slip mat on the floor. You might think this is just for looks, but it's really not. It's actually very functional. So because there's a very stiff brake pedal in there, it's currently set to about 250 kilograms of force. Every time you press that, you've got to think it's all connected to the brakes, the seat and everything. So when I press that brake pedal, it's going to try and shift the whole thing forwards. If you don't have an anti-slip mat, you're just going to be slamming into the wall every time you slam that brake pedal. There is a common alternative that people do if you can't afford the anti-slip mat, and that's to just drill some holes into the floor and bolt the whole thing to the floor. I've not gone for that because I want this rig to be nice and quick and easy to kind of disassemble and fold away and put away. Like, if somebody wants to use this space for something else, they can. It's very quick to remove and reassemble. And so we come to the final item in this list, which we have to go down here to see. It is a brake pedal. Because judging by the amount of times I get rear-ended in T1, a lot of people have not got a functioning brake pedal. So I would say that's probably the number one thing that every sim racer should get, is a brake pedal that they can actually use. Right, this is a little awkward. The camera battery died just as I was filming the outro, so we're going to film it again on the phone. I know you're going to be like, oh, well, vertical video sucks, but I'll fix it in post. Okay, we'll turn it around in post so that it makes sense in the 16:9 format. So yeah, quick outro, just to say thanks for watching. I'll do the standard YouTuber thing, you know, of saying, did you know that only 100% of people to watch these videos are actually subscribed? So if you're not subscribed, then you're not a people. So subscribe and like the notification bell and all that stuff. And yeah, if you want to see more content like this one, then subscribe. And I'll see you later. Bye. 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 That was pretty good.